Masai, on Tim and Sid in the past, we've talked about athletes and activism, and we're so invested in the conversation because oftentimes it's not a conversation. There's yelling and screaming on both sides. And I know that we've talked to you about your initiatives in Africa in the past, and I just wonder, given what's happened over the last couple days in the United States of America, if you've talked to your group, if you've talked to your team, and there's something that you guys would like to portray moving forward as a team.
What I want to portray as a team is the freedom to speak, on these kind of issues. I feel they are so important, and I told especially a couple of our key players that feel free to speak. And by the way, nobody's getting fired. I can assure you that nobody's getting fired with our organization. It's important in a time of divide, in a time of, I think, a time of rhetoric, basically. People, just noise, in my opinion, and this noise can actually lead to something. And when you start involving sports in it, it gets to me because sports brings people together. Sports is one of the things that has united people for a long time, and you say there's the World Cup, it's togetherness. You say there's the Olympic, it's unbelievable. You say there's Invictus Games, it's unbelievable. The NBA, anything. How can we put, now start involving sports in all this nonsense talk, so I really back the players that stood up and spoke, and we'll do that with our organization.
Did you feel like because the vast majority of your players are American, this is something that you had to address with your team?
100%. I have to. It's important that we support them. I can easily use the shield of being African or being in Canada. We can use that shield. Canada is an unbelievable place. I even challenge us to help, countries be more peaceful. Other countries, and it's shocking, like that. All this is coming up. What's even more shocking, I say it again, is using sports, I say with all that's been said, example, Steve Curry is one of the best persons that you can ever meet, one of the best persons that you can ever think about, and to be attacked in that way or addressed in that way, for a visit, something that has been done for years, and something that I think everybody looks forward to, you win a championship. I haven't won a championship yet, but it just seems like something great, I remember all the pictures of Obama and the president and the teams, or George Bush and the teams, and Clinton and the teams. You see that, you remember that, and for this to become some nonsense fracas, all of a sudden, to me, I don't understand it.
At Sportsnet, we use a phrase, united by sport. You firsthand have gone from country to country in Africa. Have you seen that ability for sport to bring people together as opposed to being used in political ways? Because I'm sure in Africa, some have tried to use it in political ways.
It's no question. It's that one thing you can guarantee. Is that one thing you can always rely on. If you say the African Cup of Nations in soccer is happening here, everybody is in it. Everybody is watching. If we say we're doing a Giants of Africa camp, like in Uganda, you see kids from South Sudan, you see kids from neighboring countries, you see kids from Tanzania or Kenya. It's that one thing, and everybody talks about it. Everybody follows it in this day of social media and handheld devices. Everybody's following. What's going on, and you wish for those days. You wish for those days where sports was just that beautiful thing. And now. Bringing too much politics into it, I think, is mind-boggling for me.
We hear stick to sports a lot when we've walked down this road before on our show. When your players hear stick to sports, or when you hear stick to sports, because I'm sure you've heard it in the past before all this, what's your reaction to just stick to sports?
I'm not sticking to sports on social issues. I'm not sticking to sports on racism. I'm not sticking to sports on divide. You know, like it's not possible. Yeah, to me, those are issues that it doesn't matter whether you're playing sports or not. Those are our issues. Those are our issues as people, as human beings. Yeah, so if we have a platform to speak, speak. You know, like God has blessed us with a platform to speak. You know, like, and we're in this position for a reason. Yeah, not everybody else can be on Tim and Sid. Not everybody else can have a microphone every day to talk and to say their mind. So you know what? We have to represent them the right way. And if sports helps us do that, so be it.
Were you personally offended by what was said over the weekend at all?
Yes, I was. I really was, and I was just happy the players stood up. You know, like so. It took a long time to get to Monday, but I don't need to come up with anything, or I don't need to say anything. They said it best. LeBron said it. Steph Curry said it. Kobe Bryant said it. All the players, Chris Paul, Lope, everybody said it. You know, like so. I think while the commissioner came out with a statement, owners are coming out with statements. You know, and we stand by that. You know, as an organization.
I think a lot of people in Canada and Toronto understand your point of view and understand your passion, and we appreciate you sitting down and talking with us about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.